So I want to talk to you ladies about the power of working with your cycle. So I don't know about you, but I definitely was not brought up in an environment where it was like, yeah, I really understand all these different things that I'm feeling. And I get that, there's a fluctuation of hormones and how I'm going to be feeling. And this time's good for me to be doing this. And this time's good for me to be doing that. Yeah, that didn't happen. I viewed my cycle as I have my cycle, I go through it, I may be pissy with it, I'm over it, and then it comes again. What I've adjusted in my life has been so profound for me when it comes to my cycle and tuning into my body and helping me to now see it from a different light and actually working with it. So this is not something that I am 100% expert in. I'm talking to you from my own perspective to help give you some understanding and maybe some aha moments for yourself through this conversation. So you know that the times when you feel like, oh my God, nothing's working and I have to change this and I have to do this and da 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 da. And then you can come back and go, oh, okay, this is typical during this time of my cycle. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to do this instead, and I'll come back to it. And then you also know times when you're going to be the most productive and really like beautifully creating things. So I just want to give you some clarity around that so you can start to learn to work with your cycle. So I'm going to go over your 4 stages. Just like there's the cycle of the moon, there's the cycle within our body. So the first one is going to be your menstrual stage. So your menstrual is going to be when you're menstruating. That's day 1 of this entire cycle. So it's about 3 to 7 days, depending on where you're at. And as your blood is flowing, so can your emotions. You might feel a little bit more release, more emotional things happening, but that's actually a beautiful thing. This time in your cycle is the time to release and let go. It is the time when your energy will turn inward and honestly take a break from serving and having to show up for other people. The first 2 days of my cycle, the majority of the time, I am in bed. I am just like doing some writing, doing some clarity, doing some like internal work, but I take a break from having to show up for other people. When I was not honoring that for myself, I was depleting myself even more. Actually, just like 2 months ago, I started my cycle the night before I was supposed to go to HIIT training. And I had to tell them, like, look, I can't go exercise like this tomorrow. Like, it's just not going to work. I need to be laying in bed and I need to recoup. Because if I tried to just like push myself through that, I know I deplete myself more. And it was funny because she was just like, it took me a long time to realize that you weren't talking about being on a bicycle when you're talking about your cycle. And so it may not be understood, but I also had to have a conversation with my husband around it too. So that way he knows, look, I've just started my bleed. I need some time. And he'll be like, yeah, go ahead, go. And I will go lay down, be in my bed, have that time. And he will 100% step into taking care of the kids because I need that time for me to literally take a break and go in and be with my body. So I know for myself, I was always trained to just push through it. Nothing's going to make me like think that I'm different than anybody else and that I can, just power through whatever's coming at me. I'm powerful. Yeah, I am powerful, but there's also deep clarity when you actually work with your body and you come in and you say, oh, all right, this is what's happening. This is what my body needs. And I allow myself to just come in and I can analyze things from a beautiful way. Your brain literally comes together, the right half and the left half. You're more analytical, you're more emotional, is more connected during this time. So you can really sit down and you can analyze things, you can feel into things, and then you can start to like think about adjustments for when you have more energy to put into place. That's going to lead us into our next part of our cycle, and this is for your follicular part. So this lasts for about 7 to 10 days. And this is where your energy is coming back. You're feeling a lot happier. You're feeling like, woo, like optimistic. The world is amazing. This is your time that your body is literally like starting to work towards creating life. And so if you're not even working towards having a baby, or if you're not even at the point in your life right now where you're menstruating, you still have these cycles, and it's towards creating life in business. It's towards creating not something new within a relationship. You can take that energy and you can put it towards whatever it is that you are creating. Your hormones are starting to rise. You are just feeling really in your body, feeling more embodied. This might be the time when you're just feeling sexier, more connected. You're just shining during this phase. You're starting to really just come in and feel so connected into who you are during this time. It's a beautiful time. And then you're going to move into your next phase, which is going to be your ovulation phase. And this is going to be out 3 to 5 days. Everybody's different. Your hormones, your estrogen, your testosterone is spiking. Your verbal centers are like heightened during this time. You're able to communicate better. You're able to speak your needs better. You're able to speak your desires better. You're able to, you are just so in tune with being able to speak out loud what it is that you're needing. This is a great time for you to have those important conversations. Oftentimes, which I'll get to the next phase, that's when you think it's a good time for you to have these important conversations. This is going to be the most opportune time. If you're wanting to speak about a new project, if you're wanting to ask for a raise, if you're wanting, this is a beautiful time for you to do that because your energy is heightened. You can speak more clearly. Your mind is more open. So if you're working on group projects, your mind is more open during this time and your creativity is soaring. Think about it, like you're ovulating. Your body is literally priming on an actual physiological sense for you to create life. So if you're not using that energy to create life, you can use that energy to create what you're wanting to create. So beautiful time for you to really be pushing through those projects and for you to be doing the actions that need to happen for whatever it is that you are creating in life and in business and in your personal growth as well, or creating life in general. Then you're going to move into the last phase, and this is your luteal phase. So this is going to be 10 to 14 days. So it's kind of broken up into 2 segments. The first one, the first half, you're feeding into a lot of what I just explained with the ovulation phase. So you're still feeding into being able to communicate, you're checking things off your list, you're taking action, you're feeling really good. But note it, your hormones are going to start to decrease. That's going to get you ready for your menstruation. So as your hormones decrease, so will those feelings. So will your energy will start to decrease. You will start to come inward. You will start to see issues that you didn't see in the first 3 weeks. So if you're working on a new project, this might be the time when the things that aren't working will come into play. This will be the time when you may go inward and go, oh my gosh, my relationship is this, or this is that, and this is happening, blah, 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 right? You may feel so much that's happening that's not working. And that's because there's a lot of this internal stuff that's happening that's going on. So what you need to do in this time is give yourself more self-care. Really hold yourself through that. Do whatever you can to decrease stress. Have strong boundaries. Say no. This is not the time to be putting anything else onto your plate. This is not the time to be saying yes to a new big project. This is not the time. You literally need to allow yourself to take a break, to come back in and wait until you kind of go through and, feel into it. So this is something that has changed so much for me when I'm in this phase and I start to question so much that's going on. And if I look back and I see, I'm just in this phase, that it will pass. Like, let me see if I still feel this in a week's time. And if so, then I'm going to start to make big changes. But this time right here is not the time for you to make those changes. It's not the time for you to go head on to solve issues. It's not the time for you to really, put that onto your plate, because your energy is starting to get drained. You're needing to go more inward to prepare yourself for the menstrual phase. And then you'll go through the menstrual phase, let go, release, flow, and then you'll come back through. So it's a beautiful cycle that we go through. And when you tap into this, you can start to plan things on your calendar. I literally plan things like, this isn't the time where I need to be doing like big projects. I mean, if I can, right, I'll try to plan around things. I also will block off the first couple days of my period and have those days where I can just not have to show up and serve other people in those days. If I can, if I need to show up, then I know that I'm holding myself through that. It's a couple hours that I'm 100% showing up, and then I go really nurture myself. So when you feel into this, you start to learn more, you start to work with your body, you work with your own cycle, and then you don't go into, oh, what the hell's wrong with me? All of this is normal. All of this is what, typically people feel. And so it's really beautiful for you to kind of tap into that. I highly, highly recommend the app MyFlow. If you have not already downloaded that, she's amazing with it. And in that app, you can like get alerted with which phase you're in. In there, you can see like what foods are beautiful for you to eat at this time, your focus, energy, and it can also you can even link it to your partner, where your partner can get notified and they can see what part of your cycle you're in. When my husband's like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm about to start my bleed. He's like, oh, okay, got it, cool, and so it just helps for us to be on the same page and for him to be able to be open to where my body naturally is cycling with. So MyFlow, I highly recommend it, and the creator of it is a genius in this area as well. So I'm curious what you got from this. It's really like, what aha moments, what things are you going to change from this? But maybe it's just one thing, just going, during the right before my bleed, I'm going to do a lot more self-care, and I'm going to have even stronger boundaries. That's a beautiful start. So the power of your cycle, when you work with it, really helps to heighten everything else. And you also have the time to rejuvenate. That's going to lead you into high productivity. That's what I've noticed for myself. And it prevents me from feeling depleted. So I will be back next week. I hope you got something from this conversation, and I'll see you then.